really enjoyed Encanto. The art was stunning, the characters were interesting and fun, the story had some depth, the soundtrack was consistent bangers. It's pretty much the only good movie Disney has made in the last 10 years. Wait, when did Moana come out? Well, I liked Encanto more. I recommended it to most of my friends and family when it came out, and my pitch tended to be that it felt more like a Pixar movie than a Disney movie. And this was back when Pixar was still consistently good, though you have to be as old as me to remember that bygone era. But I did have one big complaint about the movie that I think single-handedly stopped it from being a great movie. The story follows Mirabelle, who is a member of the magical Madrigal family. They live in a magical house, and they hold a ceremony when a child in the family reaches a specific age where they are gifted with some sort of magical power. Healing any injury with food, seeing the future, controlling the weather, super hearing, controlling plants, super strength, talking to animals, and morphing their appearance. Typical X-Men stuff. Except the food one, that's unique. But on the day of Mirabelle's ceremony, something went wrong, and she was not given a power. Or a bedroom, which always felt worse to me. That moment led to an inferiority complex, self-recrimination about what she did to deserve it, and her family looks down on her a little bit, especially her abuela. Abuela also has no powers, but she was gifted the magical house that gives everyone else their magic. One day, the magic starts to fade, and the magic house starts to come apart at the seams. Some suspect that Mirabelle might be the source because she clearly did something wrong to deserve her lack of gifting. But Mirabelle investigates and discovers the source of the problem is actually Abuela. She pushes her family too hard, and the stress of feeling like they have to hold the town together is literally tearing the family apart as they try to live up to Abuela's standards and maintain a facade of perfection to the outside world. The house is ultimately destroyed. Everyone loses their powers, and we hit the story's low point. This is when Mirabelle and Abuela have a heart-to-heart where Abuela reveals why she pushes everyone so hard. The story takes place in Colombia, and I don't know if you're well-versed in Colombia's history, but it is rough. A dear friend of mine's parents were actually missionaries there in the late 80s and early 90s, and she was under 6 years old when they had to escape in the middle of the night because militants were on their way to their village to do some burning and murdering. Anyway, when Abuela was a young wife and mother, there was a political upheaval. Abuela and Abuelo had to flee their town with their 3 infant triplets. I guess saying 3 triplets is kind of redundant, really. But some soldiers chased them and the other townsfolk down. To buy everyone time to escape, Abuelo faced down the soldiers by himself and sacrificed himself. Abuela saw him get killed and she cried out in her grief. And that's when some local jungle magic or something honored his sacrifice by knocking the soldiers back and creating an impenetrable valley for the refugees to live in safety. And then the magic house appeared. Because this gift was given to her for what her husband did, Abuela has always felt pressured to prove that she deserves it by striving and pushing for her family to be absolutely perfect and self-sacrificing at all times. The whole sequence of this story is fantastic. It's beautifully animated. It's gut-wrenching in its emotion, and it's presented with a truly great song, and it's satisfying because it explains everything the story has been building to and around. But when you're watching it, it didn't hit that hard for most people because Encanto made a huge mistake. They told you this whole story at the very beginning of the movie. All of that is spoiled in the first 5 minutes. We get more of a sense of how it affected Abuela, but the whole story of Abuela's sacrifice is totally spoiled. And it's confusing because we learn it in the beginning because Abuela is telling Mirabelle the story. Then in the later scene, she acts like it's all new information. That's all that they really had to do to elevate this movie to great. Don't spoil the ending in the beginning. Pretty basic advice for a storyteller. In this case, cut the first 3 minutes. I'm honestly surprised they didn't realize that needed to happen. If there's any making of information that points to the reason for this decision, I would love to hear it because I can't think of any reason why they would do it. To further my point, a friend of mine missed the beginning when she first saw it. She was making popcorn when her family started the movie and she didn't know any of that stuff. Then the reveal comes at the end and she said that she was an emotional wreck and wondering why her family wasn't half as broken up as she was. Then she rewatched it a few days later and found out why. Because the beginning ruined it. It's just baffling. Anyway, you'll see me next time if you subscribe. Bye.